The conversation of love and marriage. A student asks a teacher, why often people marry a different person than they fell in love with. The teacher said, in order to answer your question, go to the wheat field and choose the best wheat and come back. But the rule is that you can go through them only once and cannot turn back to pick. The student went to the field. Went through the first row, he saw one big wheat which he instantly liked, but he wonders that maybe there is a bigger one further. Then he saw another bigger one, but again he thought that maybe there is an even bigger one waiting for him. Later, when he finished more than half of the wheat field, he started to realize that the wheat is not as big as the ones he let go of. He started to realize that he had missed the best one in the search of a bigger. So, he ended up going back to the teacher with an empty hand, because he just wasn't able to forgive himself for letting go of the best wheat, and described what happened. The teacher told him, you kept looking for a better one while letting go of the best one, and later when you realize that you have missed that, you can go back. This is the mistake often made by people who fell in love and lost the best person they could have in their life. So, the student said, does that mean one should never fall in love? The teacher replied, no dear. Anyone can fall in love if they find a suitable person. But, once you truly fall in love, you must never let go of that person due to your anger, ego, or comparisons with others. How do they end up marrying someone other than they loved? The student asked. The teacher said, in order to answer your question, go to the cornfield and choose the biggest corn and come back. But the rule is same as before, you can go through them only once and cannot turn back to pick. The student went to the cornfield. This time he was careful not to repeat the previous mistake. When he reached to the middle of the field, he picked one medium corn that he felt satisfied with and went back to the teacher. He described how he made a choice. The teacher told him, this time you didn't come empty-handed. You looked for one that is just nice, and you had put your faith that this is the best one you can get. This is how one makes a choice for marriage. The student stood confused. The teacher asked, what is bothering you now? The student replied, I am wondering which would have been better, marrying a person you love or loving the person you marry. The teacher replied, it's a very easy answer, only if you are willing to admit it to yourself. Moral: life is like a basket of fruits. Either you have to make a choice of eating the fruit you love or be content with something that is healthy. Choose wisely, else you may have to spend your life wondering, what if? As long as you stay true to yourself and honest, you can't go wrong with any of these two choices. A blind man's love. A man married a beautiful girl. He loved her very much. One day she developed a skin disease. Slowly she started to lose her beauty. It so happened that one day her husband left for a tour. While returning, he met with an accident and lost his eyesight. However, their married life continued as usual. But as days passed, she lost her beauty gradually. Blind husband did not know this, and there was not any difference in their married life. He continued to love her and she also loved him very much. One day she died. Her death brought him a great sorrow. He finished all her last rites and wanted to leave that town. A man from behind called and said, now how will you be able to walk all alone? All these days your wife used to help you. He replied, I am not blind. I was acting because if she knew I could see her skin condition due to a disease, it would have pained her more than her disease. I didn't love her for her beauty alone, but I fell in love with her caring and loving nature. So I pretended to be blind. I only wanted to keep her happy. Moral: when you truly love someone, you will go to any extent to keep your loved one happy, and sometimes it is good for us to act blind and ignore one another's shortcomings in order to be happy. The beauty will fade with time, but heart and soul will always be the same. Love the person for what he/she is from inside, not from outside. The dilemma of love and regret of lifetime. She was a simple homely girl from a small town who had many dreams. He was a simple guy with a successful career. Fate brought them together. She fell in love and he accepted his feelings for her too. She looked upon him as her everything. He understood her more than anyone. He wanted to provide everything that was good for her. She wanted to do everything that can make him happy. He wanted her to grow out of shadows of a home life and become self-dependent. He wanted her to learn how to face the harsh reality of society and make a career, so if anything happens to him in future, she can survive. He was constantly guiding her and often even scolded her when she made mistakes. He was molding her for her own good. She was getting a success and many guys were showing interest in her. Oh, did I mention she was beautiful too? She had a smile that can fill anyone's heart. As time passed, she became more confident and her career was reaching its peak. But he has always stood by her, always guiding her and continued to push her for more progress. However, she was no longer liking him giving her advice. She felt that she is more than capable of deciding what to do. He too was always working and differences started to grow. She never understood why he was always pushing her for more and more. But she started quarreling with him. It grew. She left him saying, "I am not the one to listen to you always. I can't decide what's best for me now. I am successful. There are many guys who will be more than happy to accept me as I am. If you do not like it, go to hell." He felt hurt. He who loved her since she was a simple homely girl, failed to understand why would she think in such a negative manner about him. He who always wanted her to be self-dependent, who felt proud each time she reached the new height of success, how can she say such things? He left her saying, "Perhaps the ego of your success has grown in your mind, that you have failed to feel my feelings for you in your heart. I loved you when you were a simple girl without a career or a success in your life. My intention was always to encourage you, not to make you feel anything less. Perhaps, failure is mine that after all the time we spent together, I couldn't make you understand what you are for me and what I wished for you. I wished only best for you. I wished to achieve more success than me. I wished you do not make the same mistakes which I made. That was the only reason I always guided you and scolded you. May you find everything you ever wished for." He knew that both are made for each other. No one can make them happy as much as they can make each other. But he had no words left to say as he was truly heartbroken. She later realized it, but it was too late and had to end up living with the regret of a lifetime. Moral: only those who care for you will try to show you the right path by guiding you, or even being harsh occasionally, only because they want the best for you. Think for a minute of your past and person who was part of your life then but not today. Where would you have been today if it was not for such person to be in your life? Let go of ego and anger because eventually, it will cost us what could be the most valuable part of our life.